Hello and welcome back to the Leading You podcast. I'm Juliehyde and I'm thrilled that you're here with me today because I have the final episode for 2024. Can you believe it? I can't. It's like this year has flown. But I'm really, really excited because I'm about to dive into a really powerful episode for you today that is going to set you up for an incredible 2025. Now, I have a question for you. If your future self was to give you a call right now, what advice would they share? What choices would they tell you to make today to create the life that you truly want by the end of 2025? What advice would they have for you, and what choices would they tell you to make to ensure that you have enjoyed the life that you truly want by the end of 2025? Now, this is a really big question, and there'll be some responses that come to you intuitively, and there'll be others that you need to think about. This is why podcasts are really great, because you can listen to them over and over again. And for this podcast, I recommend that you have a pen and paper, but this is also a really great episode to journal about. Journal your thoughts on these questions to come back to later and expand on, because it's really, really powerful to be thinking forward and looking back to right now, because right now you have the power to influence your future. It starts today. It starts as soon as you listen to this podcast. So today we're going to reflect on the year that's passed, what worked, what didn't, and what we can learn from it. And then we'll tap into our vision for 2025, set clear, value-driven intentions, and create a roadmap for success. So we've got a lot to dig into. This episode is especially for anyone who feels like they've been juggling too many priorities and ready to shift from overwhelm to intentional, empowered action. How good does that sound? Now, I'm sharing this with you because I have been there so many times this year as well. I faced years prior where I was stuck in the juggle, where I felt incredibly overwhelmed by demands and reacting instead of leading. And I certainly felt like that this year. But when I have really embraced the thought that you always have a choice, it really changed everything. It released so much pressure, because when you think about, I don't have to do something, I don't need to do something, versus I want to do something, I have a choice to do it. It is so liberating. And that's when I started making decisions aligned with my values, setting boundaries, and building my resilience. And that's exactly what I want to help you to do today. Being a leader of self is so critical in leading yourself forward, aligned with your values and the life that you love. We all have that choice, and ultimately we'll make a choice that supports us or one that doesn't. It's ultimately one or the other. And when you look at it like that, it's really pretty simple. So let's start with reflecting on 2024, and let's have a bit of an honest review about it. So let's start by celebrating your wins, because that is so, so important. Take a moment to reflect on one decision or habit that brought you closer to your goals this year. Maybe it was a choice to prioritize self-care, a career move that aligned with your values, or setting a boundary that protected your time. Recognize what worked for you and give yourself credit for those intentional choices. Too often, we simply move forward without celebrating the wins, embracing our progress, and the feeling of achievement is so powerful in creating momentum, in wanting more of that. It's like, give it to me. I want to feel it again. So I think if I shared a win from this year, it would definitely be for releasing my book, You Always Have a Choice. That was a massive win. It was a huge project that I endured through really hard times. I wrote the book when I was facing into health challenges, when my father was also dying and he passed away towards the end of the writing process. And I really questioned myself as to whether I should proceed with it. But I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that these thoughts are out there and that I'm empowering people now through workshops and keynotes and through people reading the book that enables them to make choices that are in line to who they are, what they stand for, and who they really want to be. And that lights me up. That makes my heart sing. That's the whole reason why you write a book. So that's my biggest win. What's yours? Write that down. Now let's look at what didn't work. Let's look at the flip side. This isn't about judgment. It's about self-awareness. And I really encourage you to approach this with self-kindness and compassion. So what choices or habits left you feeling drained or stuck? Maybe it was saying yes too often, getting caught up in busyness, which is so easy to do, or letting fear drive your decisions. Acknowledging these moments is the first step to change. Being aware of these, taking responsibility and ownership for them, then enables you the opportunity to change. And it's only then. When you are denying, when you're justifying, that's not going to help you move forward. You really want to look at things and understand what can you learn from them, and then what can you change. Change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. And that is a really great quote by John F. Kennedy. In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety, which is what we're at risk of doing if we don't have clarity on what worked and what hasn't. And this is the power of going through this podcast today. So, an example where I took on a project where I knew it wasn't aligned with my values. I just had my intuition screaming at me not to take on this project. But for whatever reason, because I knew someone, I did take on the project and I regretted it from day one, and then had to go through the process of getting out of it. That's not ideal. And it just reinforces to me that I'm still working through that need to please. There was that want of not wanting to say no, I suppose. So that's a definite learning for me. And, what I'm going to do from that is to make sure I do pause before saying yes and getting just really excited and getting involved in the project before I've actually thought it through. So now, once you've gone through those two steps, I would love for you to envision yourself in the future and really step into 2025 with intention. So close your eyes and take a deep breath for a moment. If you're walking, you might want to do this later because I don't necessarily want you to close your eyes, but you can definitely take a deep breath and especially don't do this when you're driving, but imagine it's December 2025 and you're looking back on the year. Picture your future self, the life you're living, the choices you made, the moments you felt proud, fulfilled, and aligned. What does this version of you look like? How do you feel? Do you feel healthy? Do you feel happy? Do you feel vibrant, connected to who you are and what you stand for? Do you feel confident and empowered, living in alignment with your values and priorities? Have you made memories, improved relationships? Notice that this isn't about external goals like career or business or money. It's about you, how you feel, how you're leading your life. Too often we can think externally. So really think about you and go deep and think, if I can see myself in 31st of December, 2025, how am I feeling when I'm looking back? What can I celebrate? How vibrant, how energized, how happy? Or is it the opposite? What decisions did you make this year that brought you closer to the vision for yourself? Write them down. Hold on to that feeling of alignment and purpose. The key to creating this future lies in making choices today that align with your core values. Your values are your compass. Let them guide your decisions, big and small. And remember, every time you say yes to something that doesn't align, like the project I did, you're saying no to something else that does. And if you need help with your values, you're not alone. But if you do, if you purchase You Always Have a Choice, part of the exclusive bonus downloads is the 10-step framework to discover your top 3 values. And that is free for you to work through so that you can really quickly identify those top 3 values. So important. So let's set the intention for 2025. Now let's reflect and let go. What's the one habit? What is the one commitment or mindset that you need to let go of to step into the new year with clarity? Maybe it's the pressure to be busy all the time, not protecting your energy, not creating space for yourself, believing you don't have time, or the fear of saying no. Whatever it is, give yourself permission to release it. Write down that one thing that you will stop doing in 2025 and write it down now. Just have a look at it. What is that? Step number 2 is setting boundaries. And this is so important. And one thing that I know so many people struggle with, particularly as the year goes on, we can be really, really great at setting boundaries and sticking to them in January. But in February, when life sort of kicks back into normality, the boundaries get stepped over constantly. And boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about protecting your time and your energy. So start by setting a boundary that aligns with your vision for 2025. It could be carving out time for self-care, limiting work emails after hours, and that means putting your phone down. It might mean saying no to projects that don't align with your values. Juliehyde. So one of the biggest boundaries that I put in place a little while ago, but especially when I got diagnosed with cancer, was around my sleep and my phone use. So I have a pretty hard and fast rule that I am in bed by 9:30. And half an hour before that time, I do not look at my phone. Now, it drives people mad because I don't answer them if they have, contacted me, say after 9:30 or even 8:30 at night, depending on how tired I am. But it's a hard and fast rule. I'll answer them in the morning. The world's not going to end. So that's my hard rule. That's my hard boundary. What is a hard boundary for you that you want to put in place to make sure that you're living your best 2025? Just one thing. Start with one. Step 3 is your daily choices. Your future self is shaped by the choices you make every day. Choose to act with intention, whether it's taking a moment to pause before responding, prioritizing your top tasks, or making time for what brings you joy, for what brings you happiness. These are the choices that will build the life that you envision. And to do this, you need to have clarity on your goals, your actions, your habits that are resourceful for you, and your mindset, because your mindset determines everything. Be intentional about everything you do. Have the presence of mind when making choices and decisions, and ensure that these support the future you, that one that you have envisioned waiting for you at the end of 2025. That amazing person that you will meet when you've lived that life that you truly love. So I want to leave you with this. The power to create the life you want lies in the choices you make every day. Your future self is counting on you to show up, to make tough decisions, to foster the right mindset, and to lead with intention. If you're ready to dive deeper and learn how to master your juggle, set powerful boundaries, and build unshakable resilience, I'd love for you to join my new program, You Always Have a Choice. It's designed to help you create the life that you've envisioned, one intentional choice at a time. If that's something you're interested in, please register your interest by sending me an email, and I'll send you some information about it. Leading You will be back in 2025 with an absolute kick-ass January. Seriously, I'm so excited about it. It's going to be amazing. I have 5 powerhouse women for you who will set you up in January to be empowered, to be magnetic, to be brimming with self-belief, and creating beautiful aligned spaces and making empowered choices for your year. You are going to be able to paint your canvas so beautifully after listening to all of these episodes. So I'm super excited about what's coming to you from the 2nd of January next year. I seriously can't wait. Now, I want to wish you and your loved ones a very safe, a happy, restful Christmas or holiday season if you don't celebrate, and a magical start to 2025. Thank you for being part of Leading You, and thank you for your support. Without you, Leading You is nothing. And remember, you always have a choice. Let's make 2025 the year you choose to live boldly, live fully, and embrace the power of your decisions. Until next time, keep making those empowered choices.